Oh, you're good, Cheryl.
Cheryl's good.
Just speak like no one's watching you.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of talk about really quick something. I know a lot of faces and a lot of people here. So this is my local community. So it's really incredible to get to enjoy this experience with you. A lot of us have been horse showing together for a very long time. And just the progression of this park, I mean, Piper's never been here. And so I was kind of giving her a tour today. And she was pointing out all of the things that I kind of take for granted, to be honest. I don't really, when you come here all the time, I think that you just, get used to the amenities and the luxuries that we have. So I just want to, for everybody that has made this park such a success, like this woman sitting next to me, I just appreciate it so much. And it's nice to be reminded sometimes that, we have such a luxury in our backyard, that is for sure.
Absolutely. This place is amazing. Let's hear it for Cheryl while we're waiting.
Woo!
I know her.
I know her.
I know her.
I know you too.
You better comment that on the social media post when this comes out.
Yeah.
I know her.
No kidding.
You better comment first and then comment, I know her.
And just a shout out to our beverage sponsor, Crispy Cool. They are a local women-owned business. They're out of Woodstock. Give it up for them.
Woo!
I know women!
I love that.
So thank you very much for sponsoring. Facts. No, seriously. Okay, I think we're all over here. I think this is us.
All right, wonderful.
Yeah.
Before we get started, I want to say thank you for coming to everyone, and we're going to have a full question and answer session at the end, so we really want to hear from all of you, and this is a live recording for the Plaidcast, so get excited, and we're going to hear from all of you at the end, so think up great questions.
Think of some good questions.
And lots of pressure. Everyone says no pressure, but I'm like, no, lots of pressure. To be the best podcast audience ever. And are we ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it. We're all recording in all places.
Amazing. Well, this is the Plaidcast. I'm Piper Klemm, publisher of the Plaid Horse magazine, and I am here live in Wills Park at our first ever ringside Plaidcast at a horse show. We are joined by two amazing people. Cheryl Simms here. You all know her involvement in the horse industry spans decades. Her love of the sport and passion for running horse shows was driven by her daughter Allison, who grew up riding and is now an Atlanta area professional. Cheryl saw how much joy the horses and showing brought Allison and wanted to be able to see that same joy happen for more riders. For many years, Cheryl served as a show secretary, and in 2003, she founded Cheryl & Co. Since then, she has become an influential member of our sport in the Southeast. She has served on the GHJA Board of Directors for many years and is responsible for much of the sport and much of the growth and development of our sport in Georgia. Cheryl is influential in working with the city of Alpharetta, and in 2018, she founded the Wills Park Equestrian Foundation, which will help benefit the renovation of Wills Park Equestrian Center. Welcome, Cheryl.
Woo!
Thank you very much.
And we are also joined by Kelly Berry. We're going to see episode 4 of Inside the Ingate debuting for the international premiere right at the end of this. Kelly is a visionary entrepreneur behind KB Media, recognized for its captivating visual storytelling. With a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Photography and a passion for equestrian life, she expertly captures her clients' unique narratives while empowering them to achieve their business dreams. Driven by dedication and the wisdom gained from her four-legged partners, Kelly crafts stunning content that propels her clients' brands forward, making each project a testament to her unwavering commitment to their success. Welcome, Kelly.
Oh, thanks.
Cheryl, I love learning about your history and start in the industry. As we said before, this is my very first trip to Wills Park, and I'm absolutely blown away. It is now so obvious why so many national level and very prepared riders come out of the Atlanta area. Can you talk about kind of your personal journey? And I think one of the things that's so special and so unique about this industry is that almost all of us are driven by our personal love for horses and seeing the value of horses in other people's lives to create things, and this is amazing, and this was all kind of driven out of your love for horses, which is something that everyone here shares.
So growing up, I grew up in New Mexico, and of course, all we did was ride Western, and I rode barrels and poles, and loved a horse, and my father was, believe it or not, this really dates me, but was a member of a posse, of the state county posse, and this, that, and the other. So, there was always horses in our lives. So, when I got married and I had children, I birthed this child that's terribly afraid of dolls and only wanted ponies. At the period of time we lived in Alaska, there's not a lot of horse rings in Alaska. At least there were not when we were there in the late 80s, early 90s. And so when we came back to Atlanta, all she did was nag me because she wanted to ride a horse. And so I took her to a stable to see what it was going to be all about. And I'm talking to the trainer, and then I can't find her. And she's actually in a stall picking poop. And I realized that I'm pretty much sunk at this point in time because this is where this is going to happen. So with her, this was just the piece that made her whole. She did not have for those of you that know her, as a child, she was very insecure and did not have a real vision of where she was going. Not that any child does, but she was afraid. And you guys may not realize that because she is not that person now. And the reason she is, in my belief, she is not that person now is this industry. So when we moved here and we had Wills Park just right here, she used to come to the Rolling Hills show. I have pictures of her on a pony that its head is tied down with hay strings at a Rolling Hills show because it was going to, toss her off or this, that, and the other. But this is where we were. So as she progressed, I had to pay for it. And so how was I going to pay for it? And the only way I could pay for it that I could see at that point in time was to start working in the industry and as a show secretary. So I did that. And as all things with me, I kept watching everything going, I think I can make that a little bit better. I think I can fix that. I think that I can do this, that, and the other. And we have had a very long history here in this park, and we've had a lot of wonderful shows. I mean, McClay Regionals used to be here because in its time, it was the only regional show that was facility that was here, because we're talking all the way back into the 70s. So it just progressed that way. And then what became evident to me, and those of you sitting out there know because you've heard me say it a million times, what became evident to me is that there are so many people in this industry that may not get past what Wills Park can offer them. So my piece was that I was going to give them an A-show level experience at a local price because this may be their only Olympics. On the other side of that, those that could go forward and go to, now that we have the Try-Ons and the Ocalas and this, that, and the other, we feel that we have built our rings to prepare the riders that are here, that when they go off to that A-show, they're not getting surprised. They're not seeing anything different. We've prepped them as best as we can prep them here as a local. And I do see in the last 10 to 12 years a very large rise in riders that have come from Alpharetta and this Atlanta area. And maybe some of them now are training in Florida, or maybe they're still here. But I do feel, and all of them say, oh my God, I started at Wills Park. And that was the whole point, and that's why we started this, and that's why Cheryl & Co. exists, and I hope will continue to exist to give all the future generations a chance to have the best that we can offer here.
I was blown away when I pulled in here, is that, you're following this on your GPS, and it's like a mile away, and you're like, okay, where? And then it's like half a mile away, and you're like, where, and then, all of a sudden you're here. And, I was thinking about this community and there several other places in the country. Kind of Germantown is a little bit the same way, where people came home from World War II and had just grand vision for this place. I mean, to think about how many decades this place has been around, the vision for it back in the day, for the future and the sport and the continuation, and that generational perspective, like you can feel walking around here. People wanted to grow and continue this community for future to come. Now, like many of these places, it is such a changing time in our sport. We have different considerations. And as these things were built originally a long time ago, we have so many upgrades that need to happen. Can you talk about the process of going through using this facility for what it is, keeping this facility existing, and then growing kind of that next step of how do we always be on the front side of modernizing our sport?
Well, first of all, in my aging, you've asked me a lot of questions in succession that I have to remember all of those now. So you may have to prompt me.
I know, I'm known for this.
So where we're sitting right now was a steel building with a concrete slab that was a maintenance building. Now, when we started this whole process and the city council decided they wanted to turn it into a tennis court, or they wanted to turn it into lacrosse fields, this, that, and the other, because as you would imagine, the vast majority of politicians do not understand the sport at all and what it brings and what it does. But they do understand that their sons play baseball, or their daughters play softball, or they play lacrosse, or they play this, that, and the other, or they need tennis or whatever. Well, no place in Alpharetta needs tennis because there's a tennis court in every subdivision that's around here. I mean, that was the piece. So we started the argument many years ago in a city hall that no longer even exists in Alpharetta. It was a 30 by 30 building, and now you all know what Alpharetta looks like. And we started the piece of how we needed to save this park, which is what it was designated for when it was given in 1970. So we have made a lot of transition. We had to put together a foundation, because what the city of Alpharetta said to me was, everybody outside of Alpharetta wants this, but nobody in the city of Alpharetta rides, which was a fallacy, but that's where the point. But that's where their mindset was. So we had to put together a foundation. We had to pledge private dollars to match city dollars in order to save the park and to keep on going. So that is the process here. So since that has happened, the ring behind us, the ring over there has been done. This amphitheater has been done. We have heard final that January, the pavilions just got built. We've heard January 1. Huh?
All since 2018.
Yes, since 2018. So we have heard finally, after being delayed for 18 months, that January 1, they are starting on this ring. They tear down the office. They do this ring. The schooling ring gets changed out in the field. The parking lot gets put in back here. The driveway from Wills Road cuts into the back driveway, so we will no longer, during horse shows, there will be no longer trailers coming through this direction. We will cut this road off so that there's no traffic going in. They'll all go in through the backside, and and we'll redo the parking lot and add a little bit more parking here. Also redo the RVs and their electrical and water and this, that, and the other. And so that is the phase that will start January 1.
Wow.
It's a big phase.
That's really
this
exciting.
deserves an applause. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big phase. They told us 18 months ago they needed $1.4 million from us privately. We've had the $1.4 million sitting in the bank earning interest. 3 weeks ago they told me they needed 1.9. So we're working hard to make up that difference, but we're starting the project anyway. And it has been through the generosity of private donors that we have raised the money that we have, and so far we have raised $2.6 million for this, and this is out of private money. We have no corporation money yet at this point in time.
That's amazing.
Go ahead.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Yes, I'm tired. So, but it takes all of us. And I know so many people look at me and they go, well, I don't have $50,000 to give you. It doesn't take $50,000 to do it. Every brick that you buy for the path that we're going to go through, every $100 you can give us, every whatever, it all goes. There is no operation budget out of the foundation. We 100% use all of the money to go into this park. The rest of our time is all volunteered from the board. So that's where we are. And then when we finish this project, we're raising money to go for the barns. And the barns will not be as beautiful and as grandeur as they were in the original plan, because that barn, priced to us prior to COVID, was $150,000. That barn now, for barn A, would be $1.6 million to do that 1 point. So I now can go through and do the barns in sections at about $320,000, and that's how we're going to do it. We're going to do it bit by bit by bit by bit until we get it. And so what we thought was going to be a project that we would get done in about 5 years, it's going to take us a bit, because the costs are prohibitive now. And everything that we thought this $10 million was going to do, you all know in your own jobs, you know what's happening now, you know, and how much your prices of your houses have gone up, everything that you have to do. So, but we're going to get it done. And I am determined that we're going to get it done. And to be honest with you, once we get to the barns, it's kind of easy. I know you all think it may not be, but it's going to be kind of easy, because we can do things. We can renovate those barns. If we keep a post in the ground, then it becomes a renovation. And we can go in there and completely take the roofs off, take the stalls out, completely repack it, put in concrete aisleways, do the whole 9 yards, and have very, very super nice stalls. We're not going to have anything that looks like Ocala, but we do not need we do not need Ocala. We don't need Ocala here. We need safe, solid wall stalls that are 12 by 12s with concrete aisleways, electricity on all of them, and fans. And we can do it if everybody pulls together and we do this. I mean, we can do it. And then we will be done. Maybe.
I mean, it's like painting the Brooklyn Bridge that you'll redo. By the time you're done, you'll be redoing the footing again. Yes, right. But, you know, I love the passion, and I love the commitment of doing this for so many years and being so committed to your local community and being so committed to wanting to keep this affordable. You know, you see people all the time do this for a spell or cut corners or don't want to work that hard anymore. And to see you having done this for so many years and have such a high level of commitment to every course and every jump, and to give this experience on a budget, you know, that's just caring about your community.
Well, I do care about the community. There's a lot of times you guys don't think I care about you, but I do care very much. This is my family. And I mean, I've known many of you since you were children, really children, and now you're adults, you have children of your own. And yes, I am 70 years old, so there's the piece of this. I'll just say it out there right now. But you are my family. And I also feel that if this park wasn't here, that I would be letting you down, because, by the way, you make a living off of this park. You know, yeah, you can get in the car and you can go to Tryon or you can go to Aiken and everything else like that, but you all have families here and you would like to stay home, and we are going to make it possible to do that. Plus, the industry needs to stay alive in Atlanta. At one point in time, we had lots of A shows here. We've had lots of things, and they've all moved to bigger parks, but we need to keep, I believe we need to keep the industry alive. I have watched the youth of this area be developed into very strong individuals. That is my passion. You all are my passion, and I feel like that's why I stay in it. And the only thing I did say, that if I drop dead while I'm still working on this project, please do not put me anywhere in this park. Because I'm going to need some peace someplace at some point in time. But there's the passion. everybody means a lot to me. I've known you forever, and I just feel like it's not my responsibility, but I feel like it's my responsibility.
Can I say something really?
Yeah,
Okay.
jump in.
I just want to say it's such an honor to have someone in your corner and fighting for you and fighting for your community as hard as Cheryl does. I mean, I think it's a very rare thing, and so I just really appreciate you.
I appreciate that. That's but uncalled for, but thank you. Uncalled for.
Kelly, you are one of the people who's grown up here, and we always love to talk to people on the Plaidcast who are not just riders and trainers, because those are the very, I would say, obvious jobs in our industry. We all wanted to be riders and trainers until we realized that we were untalented at that.
We were better at other things.
We were better at other things,
Yeah, and that's
which we had
okay.
to discover what we were good at because we were not good at riding and training. But I think there's so much richness that comes to so many parts of this community, and you grew up here doing it, loving horses. You still show here and love horses, and you found your pathway. Can you talk a little bit about growing up here and then starting your business and finding your way back here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so interesting. The trainer that I grew up with is no longer with us, but I just remember doing once around, twice around in that ring over there. I got taken off with a couple times, but built character.
Is it because you didn't have, you weren't tied to the baling twine wasn't
Yeah,
tied in
exactly.
your photo?
No, but
because maybe it should have.
No, but I just remember too that Cheryl talked about the concrete and the metal building that was here, and there was a schooling ring that was also right here, and it had a massive tree in it. And you fought for your life in there. I mean, everyone talks about schooling rings. They're always so scary, but I'm just telling you, if you grow up riding at Wills Park and you went in that schooling ring and you made it out alive, I truly believe that luck was on your side, honestly. But, I mean, it's, like I said earlier, I think it was interesting walking around with you today, and you're pointing out all of these things, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. That is cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is nice. And it's so nice to just kind of be reminded of those things. And well, obviously, yes, I didn't grow up to be a professional or an excellent rider, and I do silver stirrup, and, I'm proud of it. But, it's so nice for me to kind of, the first one we did was GHJ last year. We did my podcast sitting up on this hill up here, and it was just such a surreal moment to kind of bring like worlds colliding of like my professional life and this nostalgia that I have here. So it's just such a nice thing and everybody's always been so welcoming and kind and warm, and like Cheryl says, it's a family, and if I see you guys, other places, we shot at Devon, or, Lauren and I saw each other at Devon, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like this really cool, surreal moment, because this place brings us all closer together. And I think that's unique about this sport. I think it's, I didn't play tennis or baseball or anything else, but I think it's unique to the sport in that you can all kind of, when you find a horse person in a room, you're like, oh my God, it's like immediately you feel connected to that person. So, this place definitely, even if we don't stay connected all the time, and even if we don't like catch up all the time, I think that, this place is really, really special and provides a lot of great memories, and still great memories. I mean, I have great memories here as an adult, so I'm just very thankful for that.
Cheryl, let's talk about kind of what makes a good horse show. You mentioned that you're always improving every little thing all the time, and what are things that you see or notice or kind of second nature to you that that kind of people might not notice, or might kind of be outside of their radar? Definitely the decorations, and you talked about being an A show experience, but what does that mean to you?
I think the question is what makes a good show probably needs to go to the audience, because they may not think it's the same as what I think. But anyway.
But that's why you're the expert.
No, I'm not the expert, but we try real hard, and we try to bring things that are new. And so when Lauren was a child, when Janet was a child, all of these, we were jumping over 2 brown sticks with stick standards. And that's what we had in the rings. And I just thought that this is a hard sport, and can be a very expensive sport, but I just felt that they need to have a pleasant experience. They need to have beautiful pictures to remember this phase of their life, even if it's a short phase for them or whatever. And so a beautiful picture is gorgeous standards, plants, everything. They need to go back to for me, a good horse show is to give them that experience that they're going to have at a great big show, to give it to them, because they may not ever see it anyplace else. And so that's a good show. What is the most important to me for having a good show is having the very best staff that I can put together. I work hard.
Yeah.
They work hard. 3 of my staff, my crew, have been with me for 10 years.
Wow.
That is not saying, a lot of people you can't say that with. I mean, I have a lot of longevity in my staff. They're loyal to me. I do treat them like family. I get them out of scrapes. I do all those things, but they are my family. And that good staff takes pride in the product. They're not here just catching a check. They take pride in this product. They want it to be the very best product that can be offered. And to me, that's what makes a good horse show. On a funny note, what makes the best horse show is if I manage to get through the day without getting cussed out. And they don't, and it's just because people get hot or they get frustrated or they want to be someplace else or this, that, and the other. It's really not, and you and I had kind of a funny thing about that today too, but it's really not necessarily, it's a moment that got them. It's not the whole show, it's a moment that got them. And we all get tired but the piece, going back to it, the piece is that I do believe it's my staff, and I do believe it's giving the jumps, and I do believe it's giving them the classes that they can learn. I don't want them to come. I want them to leave every single horse show and go, well, I really didn't do that very well. And I want that trainer to go home and set what that was and say, we need to practice this, so that they can learn. These are schooling shows. These are learning experiences. If they didn't do it well, then it needs to get set at home for them to practice what they did. And before, usually in the fall, we're setting up hay bales. They're jumping hay bales. They're going through chutes. There's this, that, and the other. And a lot of people go home and go, well, that really stunk for you. And they get hay out and they start practicing so that they can see that. That is our goal in teaching, learning, having that experience, and then again the other piece is having the best staff possible to do it with.
One of my friends the other day said that people have goals who want to do something once, and people have systems if they want to do something over and over and over. And I thought that was such an interesting point because, winning at the horse show isn't the goal. The goal is to build a training system that allows you to win at the horse show over and over and over. And these horse shows are the litmus test of how effectively and how efficiently you are building that training system at home with your trainer, at home, taking lessons, practicing, studying the exercises, studying the questions that are going to be asked in the ring, and building that effective system. And the horse show is just a measure of how your system's coming along.
Right. It's a measure of how the system's coming along. It's a measure of how we have been very blessed in that our shows are large. And so there is a lot of competition in our ring. And so and in our ring, if you are 8th out of 20, you're incredible. Mm-hmm. I mean, and people lose sight of that. Parents lose sight of that. But if you're riding against 20, 22 riders and you end up in the top 8, you did a good job. You did a good job. And so they just have to, but you have to figure out what didn't work, and then you have to go home and practice that. And then the next time we have a show, that element may not be at the show, You may have something else that's going to trip you up. But that's the whole process of learning, preparing you so that if you do move on, then you're ready for it. If you don't move on, you still have this to come back and practice and to conquer it. And I just think in this sport, you have to keep the practice up and you have to be able to conquer those pieces and keep learning.
And if you're 8 out of 20, you're first out of 12. You can look. You can look at that another way. I have found lots of things to tell myself to make myself feel better. Ask me for more tips. But I do think that there's a lot of trending towards smaller divisions in so many places, and it's easy to kind of feel good about yourself if you win out of 3. But if winning out of 3, third out of 6 is in a lot of places, depending on your competition, there's so many variables in other people, and what you can control is yourself. And, if your goal is to beat 2 people, then, 18th out of 20th is still be, that you'll have, versus having a blue ribbon. And I think we get so stuck on the ribbons versus that improvement and that measure of our systems and our efficacy and improvement.
Yeah, and I just want to say something really quick too. If you are, the best of the worst all the time, I just kind of feel like you're never really challenging yourself or challenging the relationship you have with your animals or, anything like that. I think that it's good for certain situations, but I also think as you progress as a team and as a pair, I think it's important to always try to keep challenging yourself because, why not? I mean, what else are we doing it for?
Absolutely.
Fun. I know, but for me, it's so much more about the journey of,
I hate the word journey. That's banned on my podcast.
Oh, sorry. Don't use journey.
Don't use journey. I don't know. What are you using?
Path.
The pathway. Yeah, the pathway. Whenever someone calls me and says, I want to tell you about my journey, it's going to be a horrible
Immediately
phone call.
no.
Immediately no. And that's my big, if you say that to me, I'm like, oh, no, thank you.
Mine is authenticity. I hate that. I mean, I use it sometimes, but it's just been used way too much.
Yeah, and we met someone during our last podcast that was working the door, and her name was Journey, and someone said the word Journey, and they're like, Piper hates that. And I was like, no, I don't hate you. I was like, you're totally cute. I'm so sorry. It was horrible. I felt horrible. She was so cute.
Oh my God.
Cheryl, kind of on that note, can you tell us a little bit, do you have any fun stories of when things totally went awry at the horse show or when things, everything conspired against you or things seemed to be going horribly wrong that are kind of funny in hindsight, maybe if they weren't in the moment?
Talk about reality show. That would be a good one.
Well, I have all kinds of notes to write that book one day. From the No, I don't know that I should tell these.
You should.
From the judge that tapped the keg from the night before at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we realized what was going on, and that was not pleasant. But that was 20 years ago. That was fun.
Is that not in your horse show handbook of
yeah, it's in the book. It's in the book.
How to handle things?
We've had a pretty tough week this week. Jacob and I have had a pretty tough week this week, to be honest with you. We had all kinds of things fall out, and the crowning blow was today was when he sent me a picture early this morning, and the tractor tire was completely flat and it was stuck in the covered arena. So it's just and this is the third thing, and I'm holding my breath all weekend long that we're going to be fine all weekend long, because it has really been a tough show. Every time we've done something, we've gone about 6 steps backwards before we get it, but we try a lot to be that duck above the water and just pedaling underneath. So anyway, I really feel that there are things that I cannot tell you that have happened, and but there's a lot. I'm sorry. There's just a lot. I feel like people in the audience would start catching on if what was happening, so I don't know that I can tell you the source.
It's like too intimate of a setting.
Yeah, it is.
It is a very intimate setting.
If I wasn't looking at faces,
then
I would be okay. But
if they weren't staring at you, you'd totally share.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so, even the tractor thing, I mean, I'm sure no one here really even noticed that you had it taken care of beforehand. And I think that there's so much at play in all of this. And, it's so interesting to kind of handle that chaos that comes through every second of every horse show day.
Well, I think it's very interesting that you use the word that it's interesting to handle that chaos, because in the moment we don't necessarily feel it's interesting, but that's good. But we do handle a lot of chaos, and we handle a lot of personalities. There's a lot of personalities that you have to deal with, and that's all good. That's fine. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Yeah, and horses help all of those personalities.
They do.
Horses improve every one of those personalities. That's why we're all here.
That's right.
Because all of us benefit.
Yes.
That's right.
Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about the Inside the Ingate series? I was lucky enough to be on season 2, which we will see tonight. As it gets darker here, this is going to be the final episode of the series. I've already cried a lot on camera in the series.
Have you guys seen it? Has anyone seen it?
A little bit.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
I'm not offended. It's totally fine. Yeah. It's I mean, I cried. Nani, I wasn't even in it, and I cried. So
Yeah.
but it's fine. I think the Inside the Ingate was started as a passion project, and then I had the idea, and we shot season 1 down at WEC, and we followed some really great riders and trainers down there. And Devon was a personal journey. I'm from Pennsylvania, so Devon was always something that I really wanted to do. And a little bit about my brand and my foundation. We, not to say authenticity, but we really do. We're storytellers, and
You tell the journey.
I tell the journey authentically.
Authentically, okay.
I tell authentic journeys. So it was, and being a lifelong equestrian and somebody that has grown up doing this, and like I said, combining these two worlds and having the ability to kind of tell, it's not my version of the story, and I let the riders kind of tell their version of their stories. But I felt like there was a gap in the market of, I just was so tired of seeing interviews that were similar and that were just rosy and filled with
the same people win all the time.
The same people win all the time, and you never see anyone make a mistake or do anything wrong or canter a trot jump or, and I just felt, because I know what happens in my own, not that I am in any sort of a level of that. I'm down here.
We're all doing the same things.
Yeah, we're all doing the same things. And so I just know, and I've been to enough horse shows, I know what really goes on. And I just felt like there was a really big piece of the storytelling market. And I feel like people that show at local shows, or people that will never have the ability to show at Devon, have a stereotype or have a vision of what it's like. And, so having those conversations with people and really realizing that it's not like that, we're all doing the same sport. We're just doing it in different places at different levels on different horses, and the horses may not have a good day that day. We may not have a good day that day. And so, just to see the highlight reel on social media all the time just gets a little, it just turns you off to it. You're like, well, where are the people that are really, and one thing that I feel like I've talked about as I've talked about this season 2 specifically is this season you get to see a lot of young horses being developed, but from the professionals, which you don't ever really get to see. You get to see the made horses that are, winning and showing and doing all these amazing things, but you never get to see them actually be developed and them making mistakes or them being green or, the rider and the horse figuring those things out together. And so you got to see that a lot for season 2. And I hope that was a little bit of an eye-opening experience for everyone. And then the amateurs were great. You got to see, even though you're at Devon and even though you're, showing at a very high level, you're still nervous as shit. You're still going through it. You're still having all of the adult amateur moments that I'm having doing the silver stirrup here at Wills Park. You know, it's very similar. All the same emotions, same feelings, but I think that gets, you know, that gets taken away from people who are showing at, you know, at different levels, and we're all doing the same thing. And so so that's what I really wanted to showcase and highlight, and everybody's journey. Piper had never shown at Devon before, and so it was a huge accomplishment for her to be there. And I think, again, that you get the opportunity to do that, and people look at that in a vacuum and just think, oh, well, she's just that type of person.
Hashtag blessed.
Huh?
She's just hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed, when she's worked her ass off to be there and worked with her horse who's, you know, 18 years old and, you know, may not ever have the ability to do that again. And so that's what I really wanted to highlight is the stories that, and kind of shed light to the stereotypes and the people. And so.
And I think we all create all these lines in our sport and divisions that aren't there. Like I've interviewed the best people in the world. I've watched them train. I've watched them teach lessons and clinics. And truly, everyone riding their horse is working on turn left, turn right, go forward, come back.
Yeah.
And we all have our own challenges in that, in precision and soundness and timing and how high we want to jump doing that and how much pressure we have on and what kind of margin for error we have on that. But truly, everyone is working on the same things. And I think we don't find ourselves relatable, and you know, and we do it too. You know, it's like we don't want people to think that we don't know our place in the industry, or we don't know that we don't ride well, or we make these jokes, but like everyone gets on every horse pretty much, to flat, to horse show, to show at any level, and they are, how can I best get this horse to turn left, turn right, go forward, come back. You watch every big equitation round, you know, you look at all the courses at Eq Finals, and they're just question after question after question, and the jumps are big and they come quickly and they're very technical, but the questions are all, can I turn my horse left, can I turn my horse right, can I go forward, can I come back? And we make this also complicated. I had wanted to show at Devon my whole life. I grew up around there. I grew up pressed against the rail long before live streams and everything. Like, that was the first time I saw big competition. That was the first time I saw big things happen. And I always wanted to do it. And I have this horse, and I will never have a horse like this again. He's unreal. You know, and it's been so interesting with him, because I came home from watching Green Incentive Finals, and you know, I said to my husband, I was like, none of the horses are like him, and he's just so amazing, and my husband was like, yeah, there's probably a reason none of the horses are like him, because no one wants to ride that. I'm not a horse husband, and he's kind of poignant and blunt at a lot of things, because my two dream horse shows were to do Devon and to do the National Horse Show, and I had to come home from Kentucky this year and come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to do the National Horse Show, that I haven't been practicing, and it's not fair, and it's too much, and I hate that, because that's on me. That's on me not doing a good enough job. This morning, I didn't get in, so I didn't even have to have this whole journey with myself. I could have just waited and not got it in and been like, oh, shucks. But instead, I beat myself up for like a month about how I'm inadequate and want to do better, and just haven't. And to have this horse after all these years, and who can do it, and I'm not in a place where I can do it, and so Devon was really special and really important to me, and Ruben is 18 this year, and I said, if I don't ship him across the country and do this, I'm never going to do it, because I'm not going to ask him at 19 years old to ship and do Devon. I budgeted it out to the dollar. Like, I only showed at Ledges, which is my equivalent of Wills Park, where I never needed to braid a tail. Like, it was that budgeted out. And I did all my horse shows at Ledges. I'd never jumped the 3-3 not at ledges in my life. I've jumped 3'3", under 30 times in my entire life, and I entered at Devon, and I got all my qualifying done early because I knew I was going to be really busy, and I had a lot to do. In February, my trainer Emily called me, and she said something was wrong with Ruben, that he was losing. He's always been sound and healthy, and he was losing a lot of muscle mass quickly, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and so everything was off the table. And she probably said to me like 6 years ago, she's like, if you want this horse to last, you need to not practice. And we stopped doing warm-up trips. We stopped doing warm-up divisions. I jumped less and less. He jumped less at home. And it's been kind of a goal for the last 6 years to do very little with him, and have him perform anyways. And every year has kind of been, can we do less and get the same results? Can we do less riding, less jumping, and have the same results as last year? And that's been kind of our strategy to preserve him. And I say that because February, March were really rough, and he wasn't doing well, and he lost muscle mass the whole time. And in, I think, the first week in April, we got a diagnosis that he had Lyme disease and EPM at the same time. And that's why Lyme disease isn't common in Wisconsin at all, so no one was really looking for it. EPM, it seemed like it was moving way too fast to be EPM, but that was because it was both things at the same time. So the first week, so he has not been ridden or jumped at this point in about 2 months. We have no goals and no agenda at this point, and so he went on medication, and he was like standing there like sullen in the paddock with his head straight up in the air and just upside down and unhappy and in pain, and couldn't figure it out. Finally got the 2 diagnoses. He started treatment on a Monday, and it was like overnight. Emily left for a horse show on Thursday, and he was kind of sullen and in the paddock, but kind of was looking at her, and he hadn't really looked at her in a while. And she has a paddock with a really steep hill. She calls the adventure paddock to help the horses get fit again. And she came home Sunday night, pulled in with the trailer from the horse show, and he bolted down the steep side of the adventure paddock and picked the 2-year-old stud colt up by his withers when the trailer pulled in. And she called me, and she's like, he's back, we're going to be okay. And every single day this spring was just stress. So he's got ridden a couple weeks later for the very first time. We brought him to Kentucky, and every day was just day by day. We would just run our hands all over him and see how he was doing and see how he tolerated it. And we did warm-up day. We did 4 jumps, and he was okay. And we decided to show in the adults, and just did as little as we possibly could and turned him out every single day, and he walked around all night and kept building up muscle and kept going, and just really every single day made the decision of what can he do, what's right, what feels good, and he really surprised us every single day. Every single day he came out better than the day before. We showed the 2 weeks in Kentucky. He had a week and a half off, and then arrived at Devon for the first time in his life, and he's not always the most simple horse, so we weren't sure how he would do it. And we jumped 6 jumps on Wednesday and 3 jumps in the schooling ring on Friday morning. And,
Heck yeah.
And horse showed. And he was not, it was a big ask. He was not really fit enough. He's still coming back, but also every day we walked in and kind of talked to him and checked in with him, and he said it was okay. And now he's made a complete full recovery, and he's back to himself completely, and he's really healthy. But every day of Devon was this kind of this thing of should we keep going? How is he doing? And really just being completely. And then there was that layer, and then the layer was of complete trust, because we didn't prepare him. We didn't do anything. Emily sent me in there with the trust of that this is a good horse, and that he would try, and that, I would try. And, I think there's so many things that, I was so glad that the documentary captured, because it was such a weird moment in life. It was all of these emotions and this dream that I'd wanted for so long, and getting to do this horse show that was so big, and pushing myself so hard, and also having to step up, like, mentally, using everything I had, because I didn't really jump, and I didn't ride, and, I do a lot of things without practicing, but, like, Devon wasn't really on that list for me.
I mean, bold for sure.
At all. Like, I didn't have a single lesson. Like, I just went. I thought it was such a special time, and the documentary captured this, moment where everyone, they're stressed because it's Devon. They're stressed that, you want to be respectable and do well, and everyone's stressed about this horse and the lack of preparation, but everyone had this, like, trust and this faith. And I think so many times as customers, we lose faith in our trainers and how good they are, and how much they have to give us, and we forget to have faith in our horses. The compulsion to over prepare is something that pressure everyone has. And to me, to, like, get to capture this this weekend where it was 100% trust. I didn't know you at all, Kelly, either. She reached out and was like, I want to do this thing. And I was like, like anyone, if someone was like, I want to do a docuseries, you're like, oh God, like, am I going to be the one to cater the trot chip? And thankfully I wasn't. I just cried a lot. It's there's so many layers to this sport, and there's so many things that we all need to improve on, and we all need to capture, and I think going out there, we go to the big horse shows to elevate. We go to the big horse shows so that, when I come back to Ledges or Wills Park, I know what to work on, and I'm inspired, and I want to ride at that higher level. And getting to watch those horse shows, or be at those horse shows, or even ride at those horse shows, really focus us on coming back here and knowing where we are and how far we are away from our goals. And it was so emotional to, like, both see how far away I was from my goals in the schooling ring at Devon, and watching the other people show. And my husband, reminding me that that's why I could afford my horse, because none of those people wanted him. So maybe he did. Maybe he is missing some of the things that make him useful, and wanting to do that. And I don't know. And so we're gonna see him in this episode, I think, get turned out. And so I'm gonna watch with you, and I'm gonna totally cringe when I see his lack of musculature when the saddle comes off, but it was this complete kind of moment in time in his life, and he wanted to be there. He wanted to step up. We gave him every day. We were like, gave him every excuse, and to not do it, and to scratch, and to not go, or to go home from Kentucky and not go to Devon at all. And every day that horse stepped up for me when he didn't have to, and that to me is like, that's what means so much about this sport. And that, when we talk about a trust bank with our animals, and I always say taking a joke goes both ways, because, everyone wants this horse that takes a joke, and, sometimes you got to take the joke. And, after so many years with this horse of filling the trust bank, and so many years of listening to him, and so many years of trying to do less, it all culminated in this horse show, and I'll have that for the rest of my life. And I don't know if I'll ever do Devon again. Certainly not with this horse, and I don't know if I'll ever have that, and to have it captured, to get to do it, to have the opportunity, to be so #blessed, and to have it be documented, I think was so special.
Yeah, and I think it's, that's really, I didn't know any of that was going on, by the way. She had mentioned, that there were some health issues going on, but I had absolutely no idea. He looked great to me, so I was just happy to be there. But I think that's what's so moving about, documenting a series like this. And if we had all the money in the world to document everyone, we would, obviously. But, I think I had a similar experience. My horse had EPM. We were up in schooling Hunter Silver Stirrup, and we got champion, and I came out of the ring and I was like hysterically crying, because it's just such a journey, Sorry. It's just emotional. Yeah. And the other part of the show is too progression. experience. But the other part of the show too that is really important, and I really wanted to highlight, is the experience that the professionals have, because I think that as professionals, so much gets taken away from them that, they're just professionals, they're professionals. And while yes, it's, they do this all the time, I think from the outside, they feel a little bit more callous, a little bit more cold about their sport. But I just have so much appreciation for them, because I can relate to them on the sense of, you are getting paid by a client to perform a service, and most of the time. And, being a creative person, I can really understand that and respect it, because when you put pressure on yourself like that to perform, I don't know if you guys have ever read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's a phenomenal book. I suggest everybody reads it, but you really have to understand the amount of pressure that they're under, and that they have to get accustomed to that. And it's one thing when I pick up a camera and someone's paying me to do that, and it's just me and my camera. It's another thing when it's you and a 1,200 pound animal that you have to then partner with and listen to and communicate with. And I think that they just get I don't want to say they get anything like stereotypes wise. I think they do, but I think everybody has their own stereotypes about professionals and what they think, and the opportunities that they get and whatnot. But I also think that it's important to remember that they are they are out there having pressures that we don't even realize that they're going through or having to deal with. And I wanted to highlight that and just kind of show that side of it a little bit, because it's just a side that I think us as spectators don't really get to think about all the time.
I want to make sure we have plenty of time for questions, so let's thank Kelly and Cheryl for being with us tonight, being so candid. I can sort of come to you a little bit, but you have to come this way for questions. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask any of us?
I also have another mic too.
Perfect. Yeah, if you want another mic, here. I can walk out with it.
Come on, guys.
You can ask anything you want.
This is the trust tree. Can we make a comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
I really hate talking in front of people, even though I'm a teacher. First of all, I want to thank Cheryl for putting all the time and effort into this beautiful facility that we have here. I haven't been here long. I moved from Maryland, and there were a lot of facilities there, but there was nothing like, in our backyard that was so amazing. So I want to say thank you, Cheryl. And I also want to say that I appreciate you, because you're so humble and you're posting things that people aren't really wanting to talk about, but I appreciate that you're doing that, because it's important in the horse business to make sure that we're all being safe and fair. And I know that you've been through some struggles. I know you haven't had the, 6-figure horse. I've known you for a long time, and, you're out there, and as far as I know, your horse is barefoot, so you're making a statement on that, too. Yeah. You're a natural horsewoman, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your media.
Thank you. Do we have other questions, comments?
What about stories at Wills Park?
Yeah, does anyone want to share a Wills Park story? Does anyone want to share one of the stories that Cheryl wouldn't share?
Okay, get out there. I actually have one too.
Okay, Cheryl. So there was a horse show, and I had been with the trainer for a really long time, and it had poured and rained, and everybody else from my barn went home, and I really wanted to do my class. I just really wanted to do it, so I stayed. And I'll try not to get choked up. But Cheryl drove by in her golf cart, and it just happened to be. And I was sitting there, and I was crying. And I'm an adult. But I really wanted to go in my class. And she said, Kat, I'm going to tack you up right now. We're going down right now. And I'm going to find you a trainer, and you're going to do this class. And you know what? My first class, it wasn't very good. But you know what? The next class was amazing, and my horse won the hack, and I won the division, and I was just so grateful that Cheryl just noticed, just driving by, that I was just sitting there looking kind of forlorn, and she helped me out. So I know that this woman goes above and beyond to help us as horse people. So thank you very much, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Love that.
Thank you. That was very kind. I remember it. I remember
I have a picture. I have a picture of that day.
Does anyone else have anything? Stories?
I will say this real quick, and this is not a funny story because, well, maybe it is. I don't know what it is. So we seem to do the Wills Park benefit every year, and every time we do the Wills Park benefit and we do the $10,000 mini pre on that Saturday night, we have either 60-mile-an-hour winds that blow through, that blew down every single jump, or this year, the most torrential rain that anybody could, well, we've all seen this rain that we've had this year, this torrential rain that we've had. So we had, I just can't even tell you, I'm standing outside at the ring, and I shouldn't be saying this, but I was, and I'm watching the lightning on my phone, and I'm watching the clouds, and somebody calls me and says, you know, there's a really bad storm coming. And you kind of go, yeah. And I'm thinking, get off the phone, because I'm watching the lightning strikes. So I said, thank you very much. And I hang up the phone. And the riders are running through, and they're going. And we're at the next to the last rider, and we can't see. I mean, it is torrential rain. And I tell them they're not going in the ring, and they tell me they are going in the ring, and they take off. And they tell me later they got to the second jump and went, this is a really bad decision. And yes, there was a lightning strike. I turned my back. I walked to the office because it was just like I couldn't even do it. Meanwhile, I have a river of water running down here. It's going through the hospitality tents over there. We have an enormous tent over there that had all the silent auction on it. The people are standing on the tables or on the blocks of wood that were holding the tables up because there are at least 5 inches of water. The park was completely trashed. There was 5 to 6 inches worth of rain in this ring, 5 to 6 inches worth of rain. It was flowing out of this as much as, I cannot tell you how bad this park looked. The people that rode in the pre, we couldn't finish it. They decided that they all band together and they decided that whoever went clean, they would divide the money. And that's what we did. Everybody got first place. They signed the first place ribbon. They just split out the money. I'm looking at Jacob, and we're just like going, oh my God. Jay's been in Kentucky doing courses, and he's come back late that afternoon. He's been ill from heat stroke and stuff like that, and we have to send everybody home. We have lights that are in here that we can't pull out. We can't touch these rings because it's underwater. The next morning at 6:45, was it 6:45, Jacob? 6:30, I don't know. It's about 6:45. I think it was 6:30. I wake up, my alarm didn't go off. And don't guess that Jacob was not with me, trust me, but my alarm did not go off. So I look at my watch. I thankfully showered the night before. I'm out my door in 5 minutes. My husband's kind of going, what, and I'm just leaving. I call Jacob from the car and I say, you've got to pay the night watch guy. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I have no idea what this is happened in this park, but I trust that it's perfect. I have to go pick up all these donuts for this breakfast and this, that, and the other. Strangely enough, at 7 o'clock, I pull in. I have the donuts. I have the stuff. This park looked like nothing had happened. As I said to you before, what makes a successful show is my staff. They were spreading gravel in the tent that was for the silent auction because it was mud up to yin yang. They had everything drained out. Every jump was up. Everything was clean. All the plants were in the place. It looked like nothing had happened. It was, and so that again is not a funny story, except that it is. And the only funny part of it is that a person actually said to me Saturday night, because it had been bad the last 2 years, had you ever thought about doing this in the morning? And I went, I had to pause because you all know my mouth, and I had to pause for a moment, and I said, you know, it rains in the morning too, right? So, but again, I'm thankful for my crew because as for those of you that were here, you saw the transformation, you saw what it was before, and it was pristine the next day. So, thank you again.
I have one funny story.
Okay.
Go. You
you're good.
don't have to tell it. I don't have to tell it. It's kind of embarrassing.
How good?
It's honestly not that good.
Okay.
Who else has a good story? Come on. Yeah. Oh, I can.
Yeah, you tell your story.
Okay, a couple years ago, you don't have to ask me twice. A couple years ago, it was at the Brownwood Halloween show. You know what I'm gonna say? No. So it was my 2 best friends and I. We all had gone to Mexican Friday night, and we had a couple margaritas, and we decided that we wanted to come back and ride bareback through the park. And
this sounds wrong.
Yeah, they were both like, Cheryl's going to kill you. She's going to find us, and she's going to yell at us. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And so we tack up, or we put our bridles on, put our helmets on. We walk up to, where the covert is. We didn't even get down here. And then Cheryl, it was like she just knew we were coming. And Cheryl showed up. She was like, what are you guys doing? And I think my heart stopped for a brief moment. And now, granted, I think there were still things going on. Yeah. There were. So it wasn't like we were totally here by ourselves. No. So she just said, we were like, oh, we just want to do a night ride. She said, okay. And just let us keep going down here. But we were terrified for our life. We thought for sure she was going to just strike us down right there. But it was okay. Yeah. But we never did it again. It was way too scary. Never again.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not that scary.
No, but we didn't want to make you upset.
All right. Well, I think on that note, it's time for the international world premiere of
International.
Yeah, season 2 series season finale, season 2.
Yeah,
season finale, episode 4. And I have not seen. Okay, so I saw episode 1 in the theater with Kelly sitting next to me, with the audience full at home in the Wadsworth, in the auditorium, in the movie theater. And I have not seen this episode either, so I'm going to see it for the first time with all of you. I watched the second episode with the movie theater full on Monday, and I was sitting next to my husband, and pretty much anytime Emily opened her mouth to me, he just whispered over and was like, savage. Savage.
She was pretty savage as you were going around.
That's normal.
I love it.
That's like baseline.
I love it.
She doesn't suffer fools, and she always says that if I don't want to practice, she's not lowering her standards because of my inability to practice.
There you go.
So those are my choices. Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoy it. There's a lot of love that was put into it. So
thank you all for coming.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you don't like it, I'm sorry.
Well, and thank you for supporting Kelly and doing something new in the industry that we've never seen before. I think it's really scary to do new things, and it's intimidating, and we have a judgmental crew, and so to go out there and try something that no one's done is incredibly brave, and kudos to you for spending this whole year fueling this project and making it happen out of literally nothing.
Thank you so much.
All right, here we go.